Now the next step is let's actually get this work to actually fully work, or at least get closer to that point. So what's going to happen here is, depending on the button that we click on, we will get the following value: vowels or consonant. So meaning that this value will return a certain word, will match vowels or consonant. Based on that, we will call either the isVowel function, we'll pass the isVowel function here, and the isConstant function here. Note, this is not a call, this is actually an assignment statement. When we call that function, we're actually going to call it here in this section here where it says which function, which either contain isVowel or isConstant. So just so we can see this working, or just see, just another clue that it's working, I'm going to say here console log, and I'm going to say here test is vowel, and here we're going to test here is console. Consonant. Let's save it. Let's go back to our page here. Let's refresh it. Let's hope we don't have any JavaScript errors. If I click here on, notice it says isVowel. I'll click here and say isConstant. And here, let's say clear. We've got a error here. So this is saying it's not a function, which is right, because what's happening here, if you notice here by default, this has no value here. So what I want to do here is, in order to satisfy this, I'm just going to give this reference to a dummy function. So when it calls it here, it doesn't complain. So literally here, I'll go to this section here and I'll say function is dummy. And again, the name could be anything that you want it to be. And let's do curly brackets. Curly brackets here. Save it. So this is just the dummy function that does nothing. So by default here, I will assign this to isDummy. And again, this function does nothing, but it will prevent this particular error from happening. So let's reload. isVowel, isConstant, and here nothing's going to happen. Okay. So now we've prevented the debug error from happening. Now the next step that we need to do is, again, at runtime, if I click here on select element, we want to change this class either to pink or silver. So notice the relationship between these two div elements here. I need to change this ABC now to vowel. Okay. And the relationship between these two elements is that this element here is the child of vowel. So they have a parent and child relationship. Let's do the same thing here for constant here. So the letter B here would be a constant. So here notice that its parent says ABC. We're going to change this to a consonant. Okay, so let's go there and type in consonant and hit enter. And notice this one is silver now. So that's the goal that we need to do when we run this code. Another thing I like to do really quick, just to show you this in debug mode so you can just see how it's working. Let's go here to source. Let's click on ABC JS. I'll click here on the first line of the debugger, and let's click on vowel. So, and let's step through this one at a time. So I'll go here, step over, step over. Now if I look at which function, by default it is dummy. And notice that we can actually look at the value of the variables right here. Let's step over again. Now because we selected vowels, and vowels right here, it's true, it's going to push isVowel into which function. So notice it says now isFunction isVowel. So now when we run this for each statement, when it runs, in fact, let's put a breakpoint here. If I step over now again, when it goes to the which function, the which function contains the isVowel logic or the is module pointer. And if I step over again now, it's going to point, it's going to test, it's going to print out test is vowel. Okay, and this will just keep happening 26 times until, we figure out the right thing to do. And that's it with the debugging portion. Let this resume. Okay, in fact, let me get rid of this breakpoint, get rid of this breakpoint, or the next time I run this, it's going to drive you crazy because it's going to keep stopping. So let's resume. Okay, so now the goal is to do this dynamically. So we'll continue this process in the next video. With that, good luck and good coding.